Hey, thanks for stopping by. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from Computer Creations. I'm Robert Kofed. Today we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that I absolutely love in LightBurn. I'm going to give you some of my favorite tools and functions in LightBurn that I use almost on a daily basis. If you're new to lasers or maybe LightBurn, this is a video for you because I'm going to give you the things that I use almost on a daily basis that will really speed up how fast you get up and running in LightBurn. But before we do that, I just wanted to take a few minutes and talk a little bit about how 2024 has been for Computer Creations. I'm excited to say that this is the best year ever, and we have made some changes in how we do business, and it's certainly been for the best. A couple of things I'll mention is one of the big things that I've done this year compared to previous years is I've done a lot more business-to-business products. So I've reached out to several businesses and started providing them with products. It could be leatherette patches, it could be branding their products. So just remember that you got to think a little bit out of the box. There's a lot of people out there that are making products that have no intention, or they really don't want to buy a laser and learn how to use it, but they need their products branded. And so that's something that, especially if it's local where you don't have to worry about them shipping it to you, it can be very profitable in doing that. Number one, we all know how important it is to brand your work. And for people that don't have the ability to do that, you can provide that service to them. So I've been doing quite a bit of that work. It's been very good. I'm enjoying the business to business. I still do 99% all custom work. I don't make anything to sell, so to speak. And I think that's going to continue to be my business model. A couple of changes in the shop from an equipment standpoint. I sold my bolt to a very dear friend of mine. She wanted to add a laser to her shop, and so I sold my bolt and upgraded to the Bolt Pro 22. I've had it for about 4 months now. Have absolutely loved it. Doing lots of tumblers, lots of leatherette, lots of polished granite, anything engraving, and these RF tube lasers really excel. Like I said, it's fantastic. I'll be doing some more dedicated videos on this particular machine, but I have not been disappointed in any way when it comes to this new Thunderbolt Pro 22. As most of you know, I've had my Thunder 35 100 watt for well over 3 years now. It's my workhorse. I love it. And I use both sometimes at the same time to get things done. One of the other things or changes that I'm going to do in equipment is I have sold my fiber laser and I am upgrading it to a 15 watt UV laser. Most of the things that I was doing on the fiber side, I can do on the UV side as well. And this way, getting the UV laser, I've just kind of broadened my spectrum for other things that I want to be interested in doing, like more plastics, better glass work, those kind of things. So look forward to some UV laser content. I'm looking forward to get that done. That 15 watt laser is going to be from Pascal Louis from Haotian Laser, and it should be coming in maybe just before the end of the year. So excited about that. I'll have to learn it all over again, but that's the fun part, right? So we're doing that. We're well over 32,000 subscribers on the channel, and I just wanted to take a few minutes to say thank you very much for all your comments, your likes, the subscriptions. When you're making comments and suggestions on my channel, I read every comment, and so I appreciate the input because I want to make content that you want to see. And going forward in 2025, if you've got content that you're not finding out on YouTube that you would really like to have, I would love that input. That's the kind of stuff I'm looking for. So today I'm gonna jump into LightBurn. I'm gonna show you some of my absolute favorite tools or features in LightBurn that I use almost on a daily basis. I'm going to explain to you why I use them, and if you're brand new to lasers and maybe you're just learning LightBurn, This portion of that video will be for you because I'll be able to give you the things that I use every day, and it'll get you spun up very quickly. So let's jump into LightBurn and I'll show you what I have. Hey, before we jump into LightBurn, one other thing I wanted to mention. Coming up is the APA Expo in Las Vegas in February 3rd through the 6th. I'll put a link in the description if you want to sign up and check that out. If you're a maker and you do personalization, this is the expo for you. They're going to have well over 30 different classes. Many of the manufacturers that you might be buying your materials and equipment from are going to be there. It's going to be a great time. I'll be speaking there on Tuesday. I would love to see you. We're going to talk about LightBurn and how to take your projects to the next level. A couple of other interesting places that I'll be throughout 2025. July 17th through the 20th, I'm going to be at the LBX in New York City. I'll be speaking there. And then August 28th and through the 30th, I'll be at the Next Level Laser Conference in Dallas. So come see us there. Like I said, there's one other one that we're firming up. I don't have the dates yet, so I can't tell you what it's going to be. But I'll be speaking at 4 different events next year for sure. I'm really excited about that, and I'm hoping to see you guys at one of those events. These are great ways to network and really be able to take your business to the next level. So if you can, I'll list what I can in the descriptions for the information that I have. But I just wanted to let you know about the APA conference in Vegas, the first part of February in 2025. I hope to see you there. Let's jump into LightBurn. Feature number 1 that I use almost on a daily basis, and it saves me a ton of time. If you're purchasing any designs off of Etsy or anywhere else, as a lot of you know, I like to go ahead and assign a color as a function. It just simplifies things and it makes it a lot easier. Well, as this design came in not in the colors I prefer to use, remember that if you hold the Shift key down and you come over here and you select a layer, it will highlight everything in black. So now if you want that black layer to be red because red is your cut layer, you can systematically change that and not have to worry about individually selecting those and changing the color. Let's say that maybe this orange needs to be lime green because that's my score color. All I've got to do is hold the Shift key down, select the C05. That will select everything that's orange. I can come up here, change its color, and now I've globally gone in and changed everything that was orange to green. Same thing when I changed the black to red. So just remember, one of the selection options that you have in LightBurn that a lot of people don't know about is if you hold the Shift key down and then you select the layer, it will select everything in that color, and at that point you can go ahead and change to whatever color you prefer. It's a quick and easy way to make sure that you get your files the colors they need to be to make sure you're straight. One of the things that you should be doing in LightBurn is backing up your settings on a continuous basis. Remember that if you have an art library and a material library and you've got all kinds of things entered into your art library or your material library, those are just standalone files on your hard drive. If your hard drive crashes, you've just lost all your settings along with all your artwork. And so I'm going to show you a quick and easy way to export those to be able to back those up to make sure that they're safe. I will also put links in the description for both videos on how to generate an art library. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. Same way with the material library that I'll show you how that functions here in just a minute. But you want to make sure that you're backing this kind of stuff up. Again, it just is a standalone file on your hard drive. If your hard drive fails, you've lost all this work that you've done. LightBurn has made it really easy to be able to back these up on a continual basis. I usually typically back this up on the cloud, but I also back it up to a solid state hard drive that I have possession of, because if for some reason the internet is out and you can't get to the cloud, you're out of business. You've got to be able to rely on that. So I'll show you the easy way to do this. And this is a fairly new feature for LightBurn, and it makes it so easy to do this. So right now you have settings in your, there's scan offset settings that are here that you need to kind of keep track of. Also your settings that you have in all of these different things. You can go to one place and export all of this stuff. Makes it really easy. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to File. Then we're going to come down here to Bundles. And you notice that we have an option of either import or export a bundle. If we say export bundle, you notice that now these are all of my settings, all the hotkeys that I've set up, my material test cards that I've designed. These are for the lenses for my fiber laser. These are all the different profiles for my different CO2 lasers. And then down here, you also have my material libraries and also all of my art libraries. And I can back up all of this. You have the ability that if you don't want to back something up, you can just deselect it. But the beauty of this is now if I want to just back it all up, I can export it. I can choose to where it needs to go, preferably on an external solid state hard drive or something like that. And just that fast, you can export all of those settings, all of your libraries, all of your artwork. And it's a great way to have a peace of mind. The other thing is, let's say that that hard drive does fail. And now you're, maybe you got a new laptop or a new computer, you've reloaded LightBurn, you've put in your license key. It's really easy to get back up and running. All you have to do is come up here to File, go to Bundles, go to Import Bundle, go to your solid state hard drive or wherever you're saving those files, import the latest and greatest, and in mere minutes, you're going to be back up and running with just exactly the way you want it. So export and import bundles is definitely something that you want to make sure that you learn how to do and do it on a consistent basis. It's just good insurance to have. So check that out. It's a quick and easy way to back up your files and be safe. The next feature that I use all the time is the variable text feature. I'm going to put a card up in the upper right-hand corner so you can go to that video and see how to use this feature. But basically what this feature does is, let's say that I'm doing a bunch of tumblers for a team, a sports team, and maybe they want the last name and the player's number on each individual tumbler. The variable text feature is a great way to approach that. Most of the time that feature is turned off, so I'm going to show you where that lives. We're going to come up to Window, come down here to Variable Text, and we're going to go ahead and turn that on. Now, if you hadn't loaded it before, it might come out as a separate window, and I'll show you what that looks like. We'll just drag it out. So it might, it might just be out here floating. Just make sure you make this dialog box as small as possible and then drag it over there. And usually when it turns gray like that, let it go and it'll drop it in that top pane. And this is what the variable text feature looks like. What it is you'll have your sports team provide you an Excel spreadsheet of the last names and the player numbers. You'll convert that Excel spreadsheet to a CSV file and you'll actually load it in this variable text feature. You'll go to Browse, you'll find that, and with just a little bit of programming, now LightBurn will automatically load that last name and that player number in your design, so you don't have to type any of that in. It saves a ton of time. Like I said, I'll put a link up in the description, and so you can go to that variable text video that I've created and see how to do that. But if you're doing bottles and you're doing either name tags or tumblers with names and numbers, the variable text feature is an absolute lifesaver, and it will save you a ton of time. Go check that feature out. It's well worth learning. It will save you a bunch of time. One of the new tools that was introduced this last year in one of the most recent versions of LightBurn was this trim feature. There's lots of ways that you could have done this prior to this new tool, primarily in your Boolean functions. But to me, this new trim tool is just a lot more obvious on what you're trying to do. So let's say that you had you've got a design here and you wanted to go ahead and incorporate one design with another. And before you'd have to select them, come into one of your Boolean tools and try to merge them together. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, that kind of stuff. It can get kind of tricky. This way, if you use your trim tool and you hover over a section, now you can just go ahead and snip away kind of what you want. So it takes all the guesswork out of it. So it's one of those deals where it really makes it pretty nice in order to, merge some items together. And there you go. So it's one of those deals where a lot of times it will save you time just by going to the trim tool. Again, there's other options. You can hold the control key down. If you want to prevent automatic joining, what I really like about this feature is normally, in some cases, if you were doing any cutting, the shapes wouldn't be joined. And now, if you just go ahead and cut certain shapes, it automatically joins that. And I think that's just a huge time saver. If you haven't played with this trim tool, please do so. It's a lot more intuitive than the Boolean functions in a lot of ways, and it's something that I use all the time. As I alluded to before, there's two features down here in LightBurn called the Art Library and the Material Library. They may or may not be turned on with your version. Sometimes the default is they won't be turned on. You might have the Material Library on, but not the Art Library. Remember that all of that stuff lives under Window, and you have the ability to go ahead and select the things that you want to turn on. So you want to make sure that your Art Library and your Material Library, which is actually just listed as Material Library right here. You want to make sure those have a check mark by them. You might have to dock them, those kind of things. I like to have both my Art Library and my Material Library down here because both of, especially the Material Library, this works hand in hand with your Cuts and Layers panel. So you want to make sure that your Material Library is in your lower pane, your Cuts and Layers tab is in your upper pane, and that way, because you're using them both together at the same time. And the idea behind this Material Library, if I just drew a rectangle and let's say that I wanted to cut that out, that was going to be a cut. I'm going to turn that red. And let's say that I was using 1/4 inch plywood. All I would have to do is come down here to Ply and select it there, come down to my 1/4 inch, open it up there, go to Cut, and you notice now I have the ability to assign this setting to this layer that's selected. So if I say Assign, now at this point I can go ahead and cut my 1/4 inch material. And so you can see that it's assigned it and away I go. And so the beauty of that is that I don't have to pull out an extra notebook, anything like that. I will put a link to how to generate your own Material Library in the upper right-hand corner of this video. So if you want to learn how to do that on your own, it's very easy, it's very convenient, and once you start to use this, it's all part of your workflow. So all you've got to do is design, you color code your design by the function, whether it's a cut or it's an engrave, something like that. And then you come over here and you assign your settings, and that's as easy as it gets. And now you're ready to go to the laser to do that. If you wanted to incorporate a piece of artwork, make sure that it is also turned on. and that you've got your art library. I will also put a link to the video that I've got on how to generate your own art library. These libraries, depending on which manufacturer your laser, like Thunder Laser, they provide you a material library that you can start with. But if you don't have your own material library, you can start your own. Same way with the art library. The art library is just basically designs that you constantly use all the time. A great example for me is I have all my tumbler templates here. So if I'm doing 20-ounce JDS tumblers, I just drag this out, drop in my design, hook up my rotary, and I'm good to go. So the art library can be for many different things. I have all my jigs stored in here, so all I've got to do is take this, grab it, and pull it out, and away I go. And so your art library is hugely powerful. It saves you. You have the ability to search in each one of these folders. You can save, if you're doing a bunch of corporate work, you can save all their logos, so you don't have to worry about going to import them all. You can just basically drag it and drop it. At that point, you can resize it. You can change its color. Whatever you do with this graphic here doesn't have any bearing on what's going on here. If I needed to delete it, it wouldn't do anything with the artwork here. So your art library is very powerful. I use it all the time. It's worth checking out. You can use it kind of however you want. And you have the ability to either hide these folders if you don't want to look at them or you got too many of them. That's what this load and unload buttons do. If you take a look at that video that I show you on how to create one of these, you can see how you can just selectively remove these. It doesn't delete the artwork, it just takes it away from your site. And the art library along with material library are very powerful. My next favorite feature is going to be snap to objects. Now this, I usually leave this feature on about 95% of the time, and it lives right up here in the gear icon. So let's open this up, go to units, go to display, and we want to go to units and grids, and right here under snapping, I want to turn snap to objects on, and I leave my snap to grid off. And what does that mean, snap to objects? So let me demonstrate that for you. So if I have a shape, and let's say that I have another shape, and I want to be able to take this shape and snap it right to the middle of the center shape, I can grab this in the middle and it'll automatically, you can see how it kind of grabs it in the middle. That's a great way. The other thing is it will snap to the top, it'll snap to the side, it'll snap to the center usually. And so it's one of those deals where one object snaps to the other. And so what you want to do is just grab it, and you can see that it becomes magnetic, so to speak. It's really a nice feature. Snap to objects when you're doing designs can really make a difference. And it depends on where you grab it too. So don't grab it here, because then it's not going to snap to that edge. If you want this edge to snap to this edge, usually you've got to grab it and then it will snap to that edge. Same way with the top or the middle. And so snap to objects, one object to another, it's very handy from a design perspective. Like I said, I leave it on most of the time. You go to your units and grids, and it's under snapping, snap to objects. I leave it on, works great. Give it a try if you're doing your own designs. The last favorite feature I'm going to show you today is when I'm using a jig. I use a lot of jigs, and this laser position tool really makes it easy to set up a jig. So I've drug a jig out from my art library. I've got a little jig here that'll do 8 4x4 coasters at a time. And you notice I have these little hash marks. And so the beauty of this is I can set up this jig in a very short amount of time. The first thing I'm going to do is I want to make sure that I'm in absolute coordinates. I'm going to come over here to the laser position tool. Kind of looks like the hot air balloon or something like that. I'm going to select that. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to zoom real close. This is just a line, and I'm actually going to click right on the end of this line. And when I click on the end of this line, what's going to happen, if you're connected to your laser laser head is going to move to where it thinks that is in your bed. Then what you would do is you would physically take this jig, slide it underneath the red light, and make sure that that red light is right at the end of that line. And then to go ahead and calibrate to make sure that your jig physically is in sync with what you've got here in LightBurn, I'm going to go over to the laser position tool and I'm going to select an opposite line. So I did this one first. I'm going to come down here. So what's going to happen is once I have this one lined up, I'm going to drive the laser head down to this one. I'm going to hold this corner of my jig. I'm going to swing this jig up or down to make sure that both this line and this line are right where they should be, meaning that I might take this, drive it back here, make sure that's right, take my laser position tool, click it, select this line, and I'm just going to go back and forth from here to here and make sure that both of these spots are right underneath that red light. And what that does is that syncs the jig that you have here on your desktop in LightBurn. It syncs it with what's going on in your laser. And at that point, if I wanted to drop in my graphics to each one of these, I know that's exactly where it's going to do. So the laser position tool is very powerful if you know how to use it. There's lots of videos out on YouTube that will show you how to do this. Matter of fact, I will also put a link to how to use the laser position tool on a jig up in the upper right hand corner. Once you learn how to do this, jigs are no longer a mystery. They're quick and easy to do, and they're very reliable. And that's going to do it for some of my favorite features that I use all the time in LightBurn. I really hope you guys appreciate the content. If you do, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. If you have the ability, hit that thanks button and contribute to the channel. We'd really appreciate that. Until next time, thanks and have a great day. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and until next year, we look forward to seeing you.